So I want to make a video about, warranty parts, specifically with respect to drivetrains. And yeah, I've kept some stuff to myself for like over a decade. And so letting it all out now, which is kind of good. But let me start with Shimano. We've dealt with Shimano for many years. And I have to say, Shimano is just like top of the line. They replace everything, assuming they have parts. There's a pandemic now, so supplies are few and far between. But I had a hub on a personal bike. It was actually it was a prototype. I gave it to my daughter. We didn't ride it much, but the hub was faulty. I knew the hub was faulty from just never took care of it. And then one day I just randomly said, let's take care of this. So I called Shimano, and the hub was like at least 4 years old. I would say it was probably 5 years old at the time. So we had this old hub, which they knew from the serial number it was really old. And they have a 2-year warranty. And, the guy asked me, I don't think he even asked me how old it was, but he was just like, what do you want? It's like, I get whatever. And I was like, just another hub. He's like, we don't have any. It was a Nexus hub, or it was a Shimano Nexus. I was like, what do you got? He's like, well, with the diameter, I don't remember if we used like 130, chain stakes. I just don't remember. But, what I was looking for, they just didn't have with the 8-speed. I was like, can I pay you to get the Alpine, the upgraded 8-speed? And he was like, you don't have to pay me, but I don't have them either. I was like, okay. And I was like, well, do you have the 11-speed Alpine? He's like, let me see. He's like, he had one. I was like, how much do I owe you to upgrade? He's like, nothing. I mean, these guys warranted a hub that was at least 2, if not 3 years out of warranty. And they upgraded me. I was like, wow. And they didn't care that it was mine. Like, it wasn't as if I was an end consumer, it was the same. They just didn't really care. And I talked to the sales rep, and I asked them, I was like, do you all have any issues if somebody electrifies their bike and it tears up the hub? And they just said, we don't care. Our policy is to be as extremely generous, liberal as we can. And I can say to this day, until that changes, and I'll tell you when it changes, but to this day, I think that's been their policy. They've been ridiculously generous with everything. And I had one customer who dropped his hub into the ocean. It was like completely torn up like crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Like he showed me the inside. I'm like, oh my God, you knew something was going on with that. That's unbelievable. And they just warranted it. And so they're really great. And so I'm happy, that's really nice. In addition to them, we've worked with Sturmey Archer and Sun Race. Sun Race, Sturmey Archer is the same company. And this I've been holding inside for a long time, and this is what I want to share. So, we were selling bikes like hotcakes, circa, before the Great Recession, 2007 and stuff. And then, 2008 hit, and it's still like you're selling bikes like hotcakes. And I got a container of 8Hs. 8Hs are 8-speed internal hub bikes. And I had containers of 8Hs coming in before, no worries, everything was fine, no problem. And they were really great sellers because all these boaters, they like internal hubs and stainless steel, chains. And that's what we use then. Now we use belt drives. And so I got a container of these things. It was a pretty substantial investment. It's no big deal. Everybody makes investments in their lives, everything they do. But anyway, so I get this container of bikes, and then all of a sudden, like, I get a customer who has a problem with the hub. No big deal, and take care of it, get one off another bike or something. No big deal. It's another customer, and another customer, and then another customer. Wait a minute, like generally our business model is based on not having problems because, we move a lot of product and we don't have that much staff. So we just move the stuff and we're done. Like, if we have a problem with a warranty, we have to permanently remove that problem or else it can compromise our growth as a business, And all of a sudden we had all these hubs that are like needing warranty replacements. It was crazy. and we ship bikes all over the world. And I remember I had some guy in Israel who got one of these, and then Sturmey Archers, telling me to ship them out, one to Israel. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's not cheap to ship to Israel. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you ship the stuff to Israel. It's your hubs. What are you doing? So they sent me a bunch of. Eventually, they knew they had a problem. I mean, a real, like, just ridiculous. The whole container I got was completely defective. It was ridiculous. I ended up closing out these bikes. My recollection was for $199, right? For an 8-speed internal hub bike, with a belt, with a, excuse me, stainless steel chain. I was sitting on solid losses. And I had a warranty, all this stuff. They sent me out, like, God only knows how many of these hubs. They're like, yeah, just send it out to people. I'm going to send it out to people. How about you send it out to people? What kind of nonsense is this? And the magnitude of the problem is enormous. I mean, I didn't get a whole container of those. A whole container would be 300 to 330 bikes. But my recollection is I got half a container, like 150-ish bikes, in that ballpark. I don't remember exactly. They were all faulty. And I'm just like, every day, it's like, oh my God, we have more drama, more trouble. So anyway, eventually, I talked to David, who's the only guy for Sturmey Archer Sun Race in America. And I know David. We go to trade shows together, it's like I hang out with him all the time. He's a nice guy. I really like David's personality. I mean, he's generally a really, really nice guy. I'm like, David, what's going on with this? I mean, y'all need to do a recall. They're all faulty. And he didn't want to have that conversation. I was like, what are y'all going to do? Because, I can't run a business based on your products, which are all faulty. And he's like, we'll make it up to you later. Okay, it's been like way over a decade. I'm still waiting to be made up for it. They're real scumbags, I think, honestly. Let's put it this way. I made it clear they owed me money now because I was losing money now. I wasn't losing money in the future. And who in the world would be stupid enough to get more of their nonsense in the future? You have to be like literally an idiot to take all this defective product, take a loss on it, and then bring more in. It doesn't make any sense. So I made it clear. I was like, I think you might need to actually pay my losses at this time. And they were like, oh, we'll pay it later. Like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, they still owe me, Anyway, I stuck with Sun Race drivetrains because honestly, I thought for cheap drivetrains that were high quality, that they were actually pretty good, especially the M90. Like after this debacle with the internal hubs, they released the M90 series, M93s, and they were really nice. I mean, those rear derailleurs were pretty sweet for the price of a Shimano TZ rear, 7-speed freewheel rear derailleur. So I'm like, So I swallowed my pride, and I'm like, all right, we'll stick with these guys. And I thought David was a good guy, honestly. I just thought that his management was really sketchy, no big deal. So I continued with them. And then I had somebody who had a warranty issue with something. And I got this ridiculous response, like, oh, we've never had one of those. Okay, well, doesn't mean anything. That warranties, by definition, should be exceptional situations. If they're not exceptional, then you have a real problem, okay? So if you have them all the time, you have a massive defect. So if you don't have them all the time, it's called a warranty. Feel free to check it out if you want. But, this guy's, David's like, oh, I never had one of those before. Like, this makes sense to even say something like this. Of course, you shouldn't have them. And essentially implying he's not going to warranty it. And I was like, okay, well, just go warranty it anyway. Like, that's your job, right? Well, I don't have one. What do you mean you don't have one? Go get one. This is your job. And, it gets kind of, let's just say, complicated. I blow it off because I'm like, this is just really weird stuff. This is a company, they got to, stand behind their stuff. Lo and behold, a little while later, I'm teaching in Oregon, and I take a brand new bike. It was a yellow 9FS, my favorite bike at the time. Really excited, I have this 9FS here riding around. It's brand new. And within a few months, it wasn't instantaneous. It was like towards the end of the winter, right? So I started in September. It was, maybe, I don't know, probably March, I guess. The rear derailleur spring just fails. And I've broken a lot of parts on a bike that I've never in my life had my rear derailleur spring, like that I use every day, fail. I got bikes that had them fail, so I've seen them. But I thought that was really weird because the bike was new. I'd say around 6 months old at the time that I was using it. So no big deal. It's like, I know David, it's my bike. I own the company. No big deal, right? So I contact David. I'm like, hey, David, look, the spring, it's gone. I need another one. His response was, I've never had one of these before. I'm like, what? Is this your standard response? I guess it is, I'm like, dude, I know this is my personal bike. I own the company. I buy from you. I've bought massive amounts of product from you. I plan to continue buying massive amounts of product from you. My part, which is, like $5 for y'all, just failed. It's not a big deal. And then David, and I didn't say this to David, but I just made it clear. I give him a call, hey, David, and he's telling me like he doesn't have them in America. I don't really care if you have them in America. You just go get it, right? They have tons of wholesalers that have their stuff all over America. So they can actually call the wholesaler, have them ship it out for them. It's no big deal. And then after a few days, I'm like confused. I'm like, so did you ship it out yet? When am I getting this thing? He's like, no, I'm not shipping it. And he asked me for a receipt, right? Like he asked me for a receipt. I guess I buy my own stuff for myself. I'll write my receipt. When I need a bike, I take a bike. That's normal, it's just you take inventory when you want. I don't have a receipt. I was like, are you crazy? I don't have a receipt at my company. He's like, I need the receipt for your container load. I'm just like, oh, this guy is just ridiculous. It was abundantly clear to me there was no warranty going to be had. And so I went to the store down the street and I just got a rear derailleur, like a Shimano or some nonsense. But I have to tell you, so we discontinued using Sun Race. We discontinued using Sturmey Archer. I have to say they are, warranty-wise, the worst company on earth. I think the Sturmey Archer hubs are a joke, like literally just a joke. I think they've been discontinued because they had nothing but drama with them. And I think their lineup otherwise is actually okay. I really do. I think it's a decent lineup. And I think the pricing generally has been reasonable. But I think their ridiculous lack of warranty support to the, with the same old. I've never had one of these before. Where's the receipt? Like to the owner of the business. It's like, come on, yeah, we don't have any in America. Like, oh my God. Anyway, this is pre-pandemic, everybody. So this is not like a pandemic supply chain issue. The supply chain issues did not exist, when Sun Race was doing this nonsense. Supply chain issues happen later. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Microshift is what we're using now, which is really much better quality product. And it's really funny. I asked for some stuff. They express mailed it from Taiwan to me. Like, it was like 2 days I got it. It wasn't in America. I got it, give it 3 days. No big deal. I couldn't believe they just sent this stuff. It's crazy. Do not go with Sun Race or Sturmey Archer. It's like the worst company on earth. Thank you. Bye.